In the bustling village of Akora, where the market square hummed with life every 5 days, something unusual happened one harmless-looking morning. An old woman appeared at the edge of the market, bent with age but with eyes that sparkled with strange energy. "Good people of Akora," she called out in a voice sweeter than honey. "I am Mama Keruka, and I have come to feed this blessed village with food from my ancestors' secret recipes." The villagers gathered around, curious. She was dressed in simple wrappers, her grey hair tied neatly in a headscarf, and around her neck hung a peculiar amulet, a twisted piece of blackened metal that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Within an hour, she had set up a small food stall. The aroma that rose from her pot was like nothing anyone had ever smelled. It was rich, savory, with hints of spices that made mouths water and stomachs growl with hunger. Chief Okonko's eldest son, Chidi, was the first to buy. "How much for the meat stew, Mama?" "For you, my son, just 20 naira. I am new here. I want everyone to taste and see that Mama Keruka's food is blessed." Chidi paid and took a large portion with EDA. The moment the first morsel touched his tongue, his eyes widened. This is the best thing I've ever tasted." Word spread like wildfire. By midday, Mama Keruka's store was surrounded by customers pushing and shoving to buy her food. The other food sellers watched in dismay as their own stores remained empty. Weeks passed, and Mama Keruka became the heart of Akora's market. Every market day, her stall overflowed with customers. Even people from neighboring villages, Umuj, Ojidai, Impo, traveled just to taste her cooking. "Mama, what is your secret?" the woman would ask, hoping to learn. She would only smile mysteriously and tap her amulet. "It is a gift from my grandmother's grandmother. The recipe cannot be shared, or it loses its power." Her menu was simple: meat stew, pepper soup, suyo, meat pies, and a special delicacy she called bushmeat surprise. Whatever she cooked, people devoured. Her prices remained cheap, too cheap, some whispered, for meat of such quality and quantity. The village prospered. Traders came from far and wide. The local farmers sold more yams and vegetables. The palm wine tappers did better business. Everyone was happy. Everyone except young Adis. Adis was a sharp-eyed girl of 12, the daughter of the village hunter, Motsi Okofo. She had her father's observant nature and her late mother's intuition. It started with Emeka, the palm wine tapper's younger son. 7 years old, bright-eyed, always running through the market. One evening, he didn't come home. He must have wandered into the forest, people said. Search parties combed the bush for days. Nothing. 2 weeks later, Ngozi, a girl of 9, vanished on her way to fetch water. Her clay pot was found by the stream, unbroken, but Ngozi was gone. Then Obiora, then Chinyu, then Ikena. 5 children in 2 months, all between ages 6 and 10. All disappeared without a trace, as if swallowed by the earth itself. The village descended into grief and fear. Parents kept their children close. The chief consulted the oracle, but the priestess gave cryptic warnings: "What you hunger for will consume you. The answer lies in what you refuse to see." Nobody understood. But through it all, one thing remained constant: Mama Keruka's stall stayed busy. In their sorrow, people found comfort in her delicious food. Some said eating her meals was the only thing that made them forget their pain, even briefly. Adis noticed something others didn't. Each time a child disappeared, Mama Keruka's food became even more delicious, even more plentiful. The old woman's eyes seemed to glow with satisfaction, and she would hum strange songs while cooking. More troubling, Mama Keruka never ate her own food. Never. "Mama, won't you taste your own cooking?" Adis asked one market day, watching carefully. The old woman's smile faltered for just a moment. "Oh, my child, when you cook all day, you lose your appetite. I eat at home, quietly, alone." But Adis had followed her once. The woman's hut, built at the edge of the village near the forest, was always dark. No smoke ever rose from her cooking fire at home. And sometimes, late at night, Addis heard sounds, chanting, and something else. Something that sounded like crying, but muffled, distant, as if coming from underground. One night, Addis confided in her friend Obi, the blacksmith's son. "I think Mama Nkiruka has something to do with the missing children." Obi looked at her as if she'd gone mad. "That sweet old woman. Addis, grief is making you suspicious. Mama Nkiruka feeds half the village. She's practically a saint. Then why does she wear that amulet always? Why does she never eat her own food? Why does her hut have no cooking fire?" "You're imagining things," Obi said, but his voice wavered with doubt. Addis decided she needed proof. The next time a child went missing, little Chinidu, just 6 years old, she made her move. It was the night before market day. Addis crept through the darkness toward Mama Nkiruka's hut. The old woman was outside, bent over large pots, stirring and chanting in a language that made Addis' skin crawl. Hiding behind a thick bush, Addis watched in horror as Mama Nkiruka opened the basket. Inside were small bones, unmistakably human. Children's bones. The old woman ground them with a mortar and pestle, mixed them with strange herbs, and added them to her cooking pots. She cackled softly. "Tomorrow, they will feast again. Tomorrow, they will lick their fingers and praise Mama Nkiruka. Fools! If only they knew they're eating their own children." Addis clapped her hand over her mouth to stop from screaming. Her whole body shook with horror and rage. But worse was to come. Mama Nkiruka walked to the back of her hut and opened the hidden trapdoor. Addis crept closer and peered into the darkness. Underground, in a pit, were the missing children, alive, but thin and terrified, imprisoned in the darkness. Not yet, my little chickens," Mama Nkiruka cooed. "You're not plump enough. But soon, very soon." The witch was keeping children captive, fattening some while slaughtering others, grinding their bones and flesh into her food, feeding the village its own children. The amulet around her neck glowed with dark energy. Addis understood now. It protected her from discovery, made people trust her, made them crave her cursed food. Addis ran back to the village, her heart pounding. She burst into Chief Okonkwo's compound, gasping for breath. Chief, I know what happened to the children. It's Mama Nkiruka. She's a witch. She's been feeding us." "Silence." The chief stood up, angry. "How dare you speak such evil about that blessed woman? She has brought prosperity to our village." "But I saw her. She has children in a pit behind her hut. She grinds bones into the food." The chief's wife, who had been eating Mama Nkiruka's meat pie, laughed. "This girl has gone mad with grief. Her mother died, now she sees evil everywhere." Other elders nodded. "Mama Nkiruka is a gift to this village. Perhaps the gods are testing us," one elder said, "and we are supposed to ignore these disappearances. The village has never been more prosperous." Addis couldn't believe what she was hearing. The food had bewitched them. They literally couldn't accept the truth because they were addicted to what the witch was feeding them.
She ran to Obi's house. "You have to believe me. I saw everything." Obi looked on. "Even if I believed you, what can we do? No one will listen. And that amulet, if it's as powerful as you say, we can't fight it." "Then we save the children ourselves," Addis said firmly. Tonight, armed with only courage and her father's hunting knife, Addis and Obi crept back to Mama Nkiruka's hut in the dead of night. The old woman was asleep, the amulet still glowing faintly around her neck. They found the trapdoor and quietly opened it. 6 children huddled below, including little Chinidu, who had been taken just 2 days before. "We are here to save you," Addis whispered. but you must be absolutely silent. One by one, they lifted the children out. But as they pulled the last child up, the trapdoor creaked loudly. Mama Nkeruka's eyes snapped open. They glowed red in the darkness. "You foolish, meddling child." Her voice was no longer sweet but filled with ancient evil. "You dare steal my livestock." She moved with impossible speed for someone so old. Her fingers, now like claws, reached for Adi's throat. "Run!" Adi screamed to Obi and the children. "Get them to the village." As Obi fled with the children, Adis fought for her life. The witch was supernaturally strong, but Adis was quick. She dodged and rolled, looking for any advantage. Then she remembered the amulet. That's where her power came from. As the witch lunged again, Adis didn't retreat. Instead, she dove forward, grabbed the amulet, and yanked with all her strength. The chain snapped. Mama Nkeruka shrieked, a sound so terrible that dogs howled throughout the village. Without the amulet's protection, her true form was revealed. Her skin turned grey and rotted, her body withered, her eyes sunk into her skull. "What have you done? What have you done?" The witch crumbled into dust before Adi's eyes, leaving only the blackened amulet on the ground.
By dawn, Obi had brought the rescued children to the village square. The sight of the 6 missing children, alive but traumatized, shocked everyone into silence. Adis arrived, holding the amulet at arm's length with a cloth, and told her story again. This time, without the amulet's spell clouding their minds, the villagers heard the truth. Horror and shame swept through Akora. "We ate our own children," someone wailed. "We wouldn't listen," Chief Okonkwo said, tears streaming down his face. "The girl tried to warn us, and we called her mad." The villagers went to Mama Nkeruka's hut and found the evidence: baskets of small bones, the grinding stones tear-stained, the pots with their cursed spices. They burned everything. The amulet they took to the river priestess, who performed rituals to destroy its evil power, then cast it into the deepest part of the river where it could never harm anyone again. The rescued children eventually healed, though they never spoke of what they endured in that pit. The village held ceremonies to honor those who were lost and couldn't be saved. But the greatest honor went to Adis. Chief Okonkwo declared her the village's protector, the one who saw truth when others were blind. "Let this be a lesson," the chief announced to the gathered village. "Evil doesn't always come with horns and fire. Sometimes it comes with a smile and sweet words. Sometimes it gives us what we crave most, and in our greed and comfort, we ignore the warning signs. We let our hunger, for food, for prosperity, for pleasure, blind us to terrible truth." From that day forward, Akora never forgot. Parents told their children the story of Mama Nkeruka, not to frighten them, but to teach them: question what seems too good to be true, listen to those who speak uncomfortable truths, and never let comfort and pleasure blind you to suffering. And whenever someone in the village prepared food for a gathering, they would always eat first from their own pot, saying, "I am not Mama Nkeruka. What I feed you, I feed myself." The market of Akora thrived again, but never again did the people choose comfort over truth, or convenience over conscience. And Adis? She grew up to become a great hunter like her father, but also a wise protector of the village, the one who watched, who questioned, who remembered that the greatest dangers often wear the kindest faces.